My name is Kim Nickens, and I am a quilling artist, which is a paper artist. I roll strips of paper. Quilling is an ancient art form. It's been around for thousands of years, but many people don't know about it. They used to take the quill of a feather and wrap paper around it, and that's where the term quilling comes from. I use a small tool like this now. It's not much different than the quill of a feather, but it's got a little slit in the end that I slide the paper into and then roll it. It started in China. Some people say that it was in Egypt, but I think most of my research takes it back to China. So I was born and raised in Portland, lived here my whole life. Went to school here. I went to Harvey Scott grade school, on to Madison High School. My parents actually also went to Madison High School. They were the first graduating class there. My parents were both artists, as well as my godmother, Betty Dodson, was a pretty well-known artist here in Portland during the 60s and 70s. I was surrounded by artists my whole life. Never felt like I was one. I think part of that is when you're surrounded by people that are really talented, you never kind of feel like you could do anything as good. So I think I was intimidated sometimes by being around really great artists. I think some people get inspired by it. I think I was never thinking I was good enough. I dabbled in different art my whole life, but then when I found this is when my whole world changed and my life changed because of this art. So what got me into this originally was it was an advertisement for this paper on my Facebook feed about 5 years ago, believe it or not. And my curiosity said, what is this? Oh, it looks really great. I want to try it. And I started right away playing with paper. And that's when it occurred to me that my father, who had passed about 5 years prior, he's been gone about 10 years now, had a love of paper. He used it as a medium in many forms, not this form. And I felt like maybe that was it. My father had this love of paper. I didn't realize that I had it. Sometimes these things I think are hiding in us and we don't, it takes a while to discover those hidden things. My advice to people all the time is never stop trying new things, because it may take a while to find what that thing is or what that passion you have. I was 50 years old when I found mine. I don't know that if art is the thing for everybody, but for a lot of us, I think it's the way that we can speak from the inside, you know, and I think that for women, mothers, we do so much of that child raising, the nurturing, the caregivers for our families that, you know, we forget about our soul, our voice, our spirit, and to get back to that, maybe you have to be selfish. You have to put your family and say, I've done my work here, they're good, they're on their own, and really look within yourself. So for other women at this point in life, I would say try everything and wait for that thing that's going to happen. And the only way to find it, I think, is to keep just trying different things. My kids went to pre-K at King, and so I drove down this street of Alberta every day taking them to and from school. And this street was very different then. I think the only real restaurant that I remember is Las Serenitas, which is a Mexican food restaurant down at the other end on about 28th, I think. And that was the restaurant. That was where the line of people were. Unfortunately, I don't see them have that line of people anymore out there because there are so many other restaurants here. But I have watched it, the good and the bad, because there's the unfortunateness of what's happened to our community, especially here on Alberta, is lots of money that comes in and development, and unfortunately that ends up displacing a lot of people that can't afford to live here anymore, and we end up with, I guess, gentrification of a neighborhood, which has been one of the leading forces that makes me want to be part of Alberta Street Gallery and this co-op, because we can steer the direction of this community by being here as a community art gallery. You know, we're offering the classes and art talks, and our last Thursday event where we invite the community to come in and have a gathering with us. So we like the fact that we can help out 30 local artists on a regular basis, that these people get a place to show. It's been a really wonderful experience in keeping that in this Alberta Arts District, or even really say bringing it back to the Alberta Arts District, and being affordable. You can come here and afford the art. Well, patience is something that people say to me every day that they see me doing my work, or they see the work I do, and they say to me, "Oh my goodness, you are just so patient to do this." And here's what I tell them: I learned patience from raising 3 children, not from this. The patience came from my children. But yes, I think that's probably hard. Again, social media putting that pressure on young people for that to succeed. And sometimes it is about being patient and waiting for what, and being aware when it's there for you. You know, opportunity can come at you all the time, but if you're not prepared for it, it can pass you right by. So there's a fine line in being ready for it when it comes to you. You know, I tell my son a lot of times when he has those, negativity, there's always the other side. You can always look at it. Now, believe me, he doesn't really want to hear that from me when he's upset about something, the rose-colored glasses on everything. But really, for every negative, there is the positive. And sometimes it just takes, you got to look at that one and choose to look at that positive. Really spending time thinking, about what you really want, what you really like, what interests you, trying to turn off the noise. I guess what I say to my son, who feels a lot of pressure with work and wanting to have success, that over and above success is happiness. It really is a focus. And I think a lot of older generations think that work and drive and ambition and all of that, is where it's at. Well, if that gives you happiness, then great, but if that's not where you gain your happiness, you got to find it, because we walk this earth for a short time. It's a blink of an eye. And in my youth, I didn't feel that way, but I sure do now. And so finding joy in everyday life is probably the most important thing.